space is too small for two.
Taistelemme viimeiseen asti.
Se on valopalloitus. Joo niin. Ota vähän rennommin.
Get ready for a wrecking with a vengeance.
Great spaceships, better than in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
explosions better than in Star Wars.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was something that we did. As I told you, really, we had the place we shot this in was maybe the size of this place, from the monitor to the wall. It was Samuel's mom's basement, and we had put there basically a blue carpet, a carpet that was painted blue, and it was filling the background there. And there we stand for 7 years, and we created this masterpiece. It's really it's an interesting film in a way, because it was something that we wanted to really much to do. We had absolutely no money, no skills, no script, no actors, no equipment, nothing. But we started to turn over to the internet and asking people from the internet to help us. If somebody has a camera, could you help us? Can somebody help us with the script? Could you come and act here on this film and all that stuff?
So it was a community project.
It was actually the first ever made collaborative film in a way, and we started to do this collaborative with the internet in 1998, when internet was actually quite new.
Before snakes on a plane.
Yes, before that, before a lot of things. And we did Star Trek for 7 years, released on the internet in 2005 for free distribution. It became the most viewed Finnish film ever, with 8 million downloads in just not a very long time. And this is what angers many filmmakers from Finland.
How did the Trekkies take it?
They took it really well, because that was also the time when Star Trek was, let's see, 1998. What was it? Was it Enterprise then? I think Enterprise
might be.
Yeah.
Or Weichholm was later. No,
but I think it was. The funny thing was that it was the time when there was Babylon 5 and Star Trek both on the television, and everybody was fighting like which one is more realistic, Star Trek or Babylon 5. Yeah. And that was basically the idea why we wanted to make this, because okay, let's put Star Trek and Babylon 5 fight each other and see who wins, and because it's such a ridiculous claim that neither of them is more realistic. But that was really fun to make, and based on that experience, I never went to film school myself, but based on that experience, because we had to do everything by ourselves, the sound, the music, the acting, the editing, the color grading, the special effects and everything. So we learned quite a lot, and based on those experiences we started to work on Iron Sky.
Spielberg was never in film school.
Oh, was he not?
No,
yeah.
He was not. Well, John Ford was never in film school. Quentin Tarantino was never in film school.
Well, that's true also,
yeah. But the same model you took with Iron Sky. It's again community project.
Yes,
again with digital marketing. I mean online marketing, online distribution, online funding.
Yeah,
tell me,
not specifically.
Can you tell me?
Yeah, I mean
more about
what we did
online funding.
I'll tell you about that just briefly. Iron Sky. We wanted to make Iron Sky a professional movie with professional actors, with a budget, which goes to the big screens all over the world. That was the idea. But we wanted to take this idea of working with the internet community with us and sort of make that sort of the heart and soul of the whole production. Now, one of the things which happened, I mean, we started to work on Iron Sky. We got this idea, let's make a film about moon Nazis. Nazis in the moon. 1945 Nazis went to the moon. In 2018 they're coming back. Good pitch. We were able to work with that pitch quite a long time. We were able to gather altogether 4 million euros from traditional financing sources. And then we hit the wall. After that, nobody gave us any money. We were like, okay, we have this money, but we can't start shooting, so we don't have any money, obviously. And at that moment, we decided, okay, we have to turn to our community and start asking if people want to invest on this movie. And by investment, I mean a proper investment, which means you get shares of the film by giving us, starting from €1,000, going up to, I think the biggest one was 60,000 euros. So basically, the idea was to create this investment scheme for a film that we wanted to make, and it worked extremely well. We were able to raise altogether 1 million euros from the internet community in quite a short time, and that released...
You were a little bit shorter than Obama.
Yeah. Well, maybe they were...
Anders Breivik was shorter than you. He raised only 100,000.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh. So he's another crowd financer. Well, that's another not that good thing in there. But what we did, I mean, important thing was that once we got this 1 million, traditional sources, they gave us another 2 million on top, so we were able to finance the film to the end.
But this is, I said, community project. It was, in a way, made co-authored by this online community.
No. Very important when you work with community, and I've seen this happen all over the internet, is that working with community is not democracy.
Yeah.
It is dictatorship.
Yeah.
You have to, I mean, you use your community to whatever means you need them, and you decide if it ends up on the film or not, and they have absolutely nothing to say. They can only work for you, but they cannot say that I demand this. Even if they, I mean, sometimes, once there was a guy who came, I put 100,000 in the film, or I did, 50,000, something like that, if I get to play a role in the film, and that was absolutely, again, definitely no. And this is really something that has to be understood when working all together with internet communities, but they don't work through democracy, they work through, like, there needs to be a creative person behind everything that drives, that filters everything. Although they might be really good ideas, you end up in a chaos if it's a matter of opinion, if you end up voting which ends up to the film and stuff like that.
Yeah, because basically I was thinking something else. My point was trying to be something else. That you cannot make cult movie. You cannot say, now I will make a cult movie. Because you are not author of cult movie. Author of cult movie is public.
Yes.
Yeah, they're making
this is
cult
exactly
movies.
That's absolutely. Udo Kier said the same.
Going to say.
Udo Kier said the same. I mean, please.
Cult movies are movies which are discovered by fans, not by critics, by fans. So here, I guess you got a problem, because critics are usually, fans of movies they discover. And in this case, fans discover that movie. Critics came later, far later. So, what do you say?
Well, yeah. What do I mean, I do agree that it's really creating a cult movie. Nobody starts to create a cult movie like, now I'm going to make a cult movie. All the cult movies are always made by people who want to make the best movie they think and they want to do, the kind of movie that they want to do. And that was something that we wanted to do as well. And when it comes to the fact, like, you're absolutely right, it's the people who decide if this is a cult movie or not. Not the critics, not the filmmakers, not the actors, not the choices of actors and all that. And I found this true in many cases. I mean, Iron Sky is a film that's been really extremely well received by people all over the world. Critics have some issues here and there, but then again, it's not a film for, so to say, for critics that way. And I always knew that if you're going to make a comedy about moon Nazis, it's not going to be a film that is going to be cherished by, like, film critics from Cannes and Berlin, but it's going to be cherished by the people who watch the film really in the theaters.
Yeah, but since it was in the making so many years, and this online community was debating it, and it was, participating in all their usual ways, they're probably thinking that they had a say in everything.
Well, in a way, and the funny thing is that when you work with the community, you really have to work with it. You have to be in dialogue with them. That's the one sort of important thing, that they have to have an idea that you actually care what they do, and that is important. And you can't fake that. You have to really care what they say. So in the end, although the final decision process is by you, it doesn't mean that the stuff that they do is useless. You end up asking them for help, and you end up using them. And these people, they sort of become advocates for you, sort of the people who say that I was participating in this movie, in a small part, but I was, and I want this movie to become big. And eventually, if you go to financing as well, I mean, if somebody invests, I put 1,000 euro to this movie, you have suddenly a huge marketing sort of army in front of you who will be promoting your movie, even though you're not doing. So I mean, if you release something, then there's suddenly 100,000 people who put it forward, and that's a big reach.
Yeah. But the Nazi premise is for laughs, basically.
To a certain degree. I mean, one thing which I realized when we started to do this is that I knew that we're going to do this for quite a long while.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do something for 6 years, you better have at least something to say with that. Yeah. It's not just for laughs and not just for cool images, but you also want to have a message which you want to take all the way to the end. It doesn't have to be the most deepest message. It doesn't have to be like hidden there and the most subtle message. It can be a really heavy-handed message, but at least it's good to have something you want to say. So, but with Nazis, we chose the Nazis not so much of the fact that they were the Nazis in the 1940s, but also rather with the fact that we wanted to play with the idea that let's imagine a totalitarian culture like that is stuck in a completely environment where there's no enemies, where there's no basically there's nothing else but the idea that one day we will come back and get those people see what happens to the community along those years and how the propaganda and all these elements that created that community originally on Earth, how does it work and what happens when they come back to Earth after they don't know anything about it?
No, I was meaning that it's playing for laughs, but it's more serious than it would be, you know, if had it been serious. Because even playing it for laughs, the message is, yeah, Nazism survived, Hitler survived. You know, after Second World War, everybody was afraid that Hitler, after all, you know, survived, and that Nazism survived, and that's it. You know, there would be no space program, American space program, without Nazis. You know?
Yeah, that is true. that's true. And yes, I do completely agree with that. That is one of the things that works so well with the concept of.
But with the concept of Nazi Kunst, Leibach came. You know, it's natural, obviously.
Yeah, well, that was, as I said, I mean, the idea for Leibach was the reason actually.
It was like immediate.
It was actually really immediate idea that I really knew from the very beginning that I want to work with Leibach. I didn't, you know.
Not Angelo Badalamenti.
Not Angelo Badalamenti, no. But I want to work. But it wasn't like a real idea. Like I could have said that I want David Bowie to do the music. It was just as far. Yeah. But Leibach released an album called Volk in 2006. I think it was 2006, and that was the time when we made the biggest sort of decisions and the biggest things. And I was listening, that was the album that I was listening to for about half a year, all the time. And I found something about the irony, the message, the seriousness and the comedy and everything in that album that somehow resonated with what I was working on. So eventually, I mean, it started out as let's get Leibach to do the music. Yes, that's a good idea. It started, let's actually try that. And it wasn't very easy because Finland and Slovenia are far away. We don't know anybody from. I didn't know anybody from Slovenia or anybody.
We are pretty close. We are brothers in arms.
I do know that. No, yes.
brothers in corruption.
Yes, we are. But yeah, I know Finns like to pride themselves as a non-corrupted country. Yeah. That's not very true nowadays, is it?
Never heard before about our deep relation, deep-seated relation.
Yeah. So. Thanks to that deal and that existence, we found Leibach.
Yeah. Kdo kaj se vključil s kakšnim vprašanjem? Goras, kaj zaprašati? So, if there's no question, I will go.
Oh, there was. Did you ask like people should ask questions?
No, I was.
I mean, come on, I came all the way from Finland. Even, I mean, pretend. Ask a question, pretend you care.
You're asking. Yeah. Okay, look, never mind, I will ask. You're probably aware of all these, you know, various conspiracy theories about Nazis making during the war, you know, state-of-the-art space technology, harboring it in somewhere in Antarctica or Arctica or who knows where. And then there were even wild speculation that they might be the first one. There are books about it.
Yeah, and I read a couple of those books. When I started to work on our sky, I bought and borrowed all the books about this. Henry Stevens made Hitler's Flying Saucer. Somebody else made the Nazi Bell. I think it was the Nazi Bell book called the Nazi Bell. But there's like a
Jim Marrs. Did you read Jim Marrs' book? His famous conspiracy theories.
Probably that I.
JFK was made after his book.
Okay.
Brought to Kill.
Yeah, I didn't actually. That I didn't read, but I read a bunch of books. I read a bunch of books about Nazis in general, but also about Odessa, about all these conspiracy theories related to it. And it's really a fascinating world. It's really. Sometimes you read stuff about the Nazi flying saucers, you can't help like looking at that stuff and that, you know what? It almost makes sense. And this is what I kind of wanted when I did Iron Sky, was that, especially with the design of the film, like spaceships and the moon base and all, like where they get their energy, where they get their oxygen, their water and all that. I wanted to make it like it's almost as if it could be true. The premise itself is so crazy, so you don't have to go too crazy with the actual tech. And I really enjoyed that because, I mean, I'm a nerd myself and a geek myself, and all my friends, I mean, working on this film, we're 100% nerds, and we really enjoyed the fact that, okay, we get to think about things like, okay, if, you know, there's not real anti-gravity, but if there was anti-gravity, how would you create it? You read this book about the Nazi Bell, and then the Glock or whatever that kind of is called, then you understand this kind of circular motion, yada yada, and all that. It was a big, you know, we enjoyed just creating those things.
Have you seen Dead Snow?
Of course I've seen Dead Snow. I have to say I was...
It's about Nazi
zombies, and I was among the 10 first people in the world to see them. I happened to be in Us Film Festival in Norway, which is the smallest festival in the world, but the producer happens to be a friend with the festival owner, so he came there and showed it to a random audience. There was 10 people, I happened to be among those, and I saw that film and I was applauding it from the beginning to the end. I really loved that film.
But you know, in 30s people were laughing at Nazis, you know.
Yeah.
And even Chaplin.
Yeah, laughing, yeah.
Yeah, and
then what happened?
Movies got, you know, like reference to Chaplin's Great Dictator.
Yes, yes, it does, for sure. And yes, it's true. It was a point.
There's a short version of it, and there is a
long. Yeah,
director's cut.
It's in Finland. We have this saying, which is reading the Bible like the devil, which is like you can skip big portions of it, and you can always find things that work with your ideology, even with a film like Great Dictator, which is really just about mocking the Nazis.
Yeah.
But you can
pro-Nazi movie.
Yeah, you can edit that into a 10-minute movie, which is a pro-Nazi movie. That is one of the parts about Iron Sky is that they're using that as a sort of propaganda tool.
But when Jani actually, he was here, Jani, you know, he sent me the artwork. Here's the artwork for Iron Sky. And my first association was, you know what? Surf Nazis must die. You remember this trauma picture from the 80s?
And I've never seen it.
It's a trash, it's a perfect, but you know, it's...
I've never seen, and I always wondered, like, why is it that, why is the first thing that many people come to mind is moon Nazis, surf Nazis? Maybe there's just the rhythm of that. I don't know. But we had but I've never seen that film, although I always, not wanted to, but I always have been aware that I probably should watch this.
Not many people.
But it's a very well-known film, surprisingly.
It's got sort of cult status. You know. So, are you considering sequel
For Iron Sky?
You know, with a $300 million budget.
Yes, absolutely. I mean.